John, you look like a person.
I do. But then again, several things look like people.
That's that's true. This is true. So this is your pick this week.
This
So
is my pick. It's the 2015. How to categorize it genre wise? I'm going to call it a psychological thriller.
yeah, that's it.
They look like people.
Yeah,
To give it in a nutshell, two old friends reconnect. One guy's living in New York. He's visited by a childhood friend. They're hanging out, and this guy starts letting it be known that he knows that evil creatures are taking over people they know. So these evil creatures look like people, and they have to leave the city because there's an oncoming war.
yeah,
And
and yeah, it's that one of I think one of my problems in this movie was even just what when they first met on the street. Um, because he's waiting for the dude with the beard. I'm gonna have to get their names, but um,
so the dude with the beard is Christian.
right, okay, yep. Um, and the other guy is
Wyatt.
Wyatt. That's right. Okay, so Wyatt is waiting for the dude with the beard, Christian, who's coming home from work, and he they're even their meeting. Wyatt is acting a little bit odd to me. I thought he was a little bit on the bizarre side.
Well, I mean, both of them are a little on the bizarre side.
They are. They're kind of like you get the sense that they're both kind of nerds for one thing, um, and they definitely seem like they were nerds when they were younger, and they had all this like because they reenact some of their childhood
Yeah.
games and things like that they play under the influence of liquor. Now that they're grown up, but they do some crazy games in the apartment. A lot of it seems very they're very into like nerdy sci-fi. Um, they're nerd freaks. So, but like I said, when they meet up, the just the way Wyatt is acting, I got the sense of like, well, this guy's a little off. So anyway, I don't know what you want to say about that part, but it he definitely has a um, he definitely has weird issues, which we start really seeing once he's staying in the apartment. He kind of like uh, lets it be known that he really doesn't have a great place to stay. So Christian offers him his place and says you can crash here, but he immediately starts doing oddball shit.
Oh, right away.
Yeah. The introduction when he shows when Christian shows Wyatt the basement, um, Wyatt's right at home in that basement and starts messing around with, and I don't know that apparently that was a New York apartment. I took it, uh,
Yeah,
but
I gotta say, so that was the most unbelievable thing about this movie
yes,
is that this guy is renting an apartment in New York City that not only has more than one room,
yeah, yes,
but a
yeah,
basement and roof
yeah,
access.
yeah.
Like, who has that?
Well, I was gonna say he's got this really nice. There's there's um there's a really nice rooftop area that you can hang out at, which he shows them. And I thought, wow, this is like a great apartment. There's a scene on the rooftop, and the rooftop is actually sizable. There's nobody else using it, and it's like, wow, this is where you'd hang out all the time.
You can have
Uh,
a party up there. I mean,
Hell
that
yeah.
is incredible rooftop access.
Yeah, I mean, you could do so much with that rooftop area. So that in itself would be like make that apartment worth more money. And then I don't know who stocked that whole basement, but the basement area, that's another scene in the basement. The basement area is like fully equipped. and there's tools, there's tables down there. There's a lot of people would love that for a workshop.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So and apparently they had full access to it. So so yeah, there's that whole thing going on. But he's also Christian at work is really into his boss, who is the Asian chick there,
Yep,
and
yep.
Mara, is that her name?
Mara, that is Margaret Ying Drake as
Yeah,
Mara.
and she's terrific in this. She was one of the more stellar uh, actors in this movie. I didn't have any problem with the acting. I did have a little bit of a problem with some aspects of this movie, but I felt you know what I think bothered me the most about this movie, Dom, was I felt like if they maybe just had a little bit more money to work with this film, they could have turned it from the movie that it was into something way better because it reminded me a little bit of the Babadook.
Yes, a lot of people have compared it to that movie.
Yeah, it's because the mental illness aspect is definitely there, and it's I mean I like the way they played at the idea of what is actually going on, how much of it is real, how much of it is in his head, which you really come to the conclusion after a while that yeah, it's in his head because of a lot of the shit that starts coming down, but and things that he does. But there are some scenes that, and to tell you the truth, if I was making this movie, if I was the filmmaker, I would have played with that a lot more. I would have made you kind of like really wonder, and at the end of the movie, you still would have been wondering, which I kind of at the end of the movie, I was like, yeah, this is schizophrenia. This is what's going on here. This is what caused all this. Um, so I think, and to me, one of the best scenes in the movie is this scene right here.
Yep.
That was the only scene because I really wasn't. I never like felt. I never felt. There's some tension there, but I never felt like um, a little bit of fear until I. This scene here, I was like, whoa, that scene made
That
me
scene was
actually.
freaky.
Yes, and it had a little bit of what's the one Smile the 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 movie Smile, and there's a sequel to it.
Yep, yep. Smile,
Reminded
smile
me,
too.
yeah. And again, like I said, there's definitely and this is how she looks normally. She doesn't normally look that scary. Um, but yeah, so Wyatt gets fixated on her, and she's Christian's sort of not. It's not really his girlfriend, but he likes her and he invites her out, which they seem to be hitting it off. They seem to be having a connection, except for the fact that she has to fire him. He loses his job.
Ah, that's corporate America.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it wasn't her. She didn't do, and she actually did a really nice thing. She wasn't. She showed she was still interested in him. She brought by what was it, a bottle of schnapps that he had given her so that they could have
And
a.
man, he was just you wanted to strangle him
I know,
because,
really.
you got me a thing of schnapps because, yeah, I'm gonna need it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and on the one hand, you could maybe see that he's a little bit bitter about losing his job, but it had nothing to do with her. She didn't do that to him. She didn't put him in that position. She had the unenviable task of having to go to him and tell him and she even tried to make it sound kinder. She tells him yeah, your section's getting like thinned out, and then he realizes like yeah, it's the only me, right? And they said clear out your desk. I don't know what else was going on with him either, but apparently the people that worked with him didn't like him because somebody put a post-it up on his computer saying, "Yeah, yeah, like clear your shit out. We're happy to see you go," or whatever. So I'm
Hmm.
paraphrasing here, but yeah. So like I said, it was, I don't know, there was stuff that made you wonder about him. And he was a little bit oddball. I mean, there's a scene with him right there. He's kind of an oddball character too. So
Well,
uh,
I think they were both going through mental illness issues.
yeah. Well, I wondered, here's the other thing, Dom. I wondered about their like what their earlier relationship was, because I almost started thinking to myself, these are almost like the Columbine guys or or something. They were like two misfit nerds that
Hmm.
didn't fit in with anybody and ended up going their own separate ways. But they had these funny games that they played together, and even the actions and reactions of when Wyatt comes to visit, his friend isn't really that surprised at a lot of the stuff he's saying and doing. And I'm thinking, what was the previous thing like? What was he like when he knew him before? Because he didn't really seem like he was that put off by some of the stuff he did. And the Wyatt was actually fairly dangerous, especially Tamara. I love the scene where she ends up
Yeah, yeah, she
putting him
takes him
down.
down.
Yeah, she was a badass. But and the other thing that bothered me a little bit in the movie was when later, when he after he has the encounter where he sees this, and then he ends up leaving, he tells Christian, "Yeah, I went over to see her," and he was like, "Did you hurt her?" And he just kind of he doesn't say anything. So I actually wondered, like, geez, because obviously he was dangerous, and probably the most implausible, improbable scenes that I saw was when Christian allows Wyatt to do this down in the basement. And but this was one of the things that really made the movie a lot like the Babadook,
Hmm.
because there's a scene where it's it's like he has to get over this thing that like helps him through to make him realize, okay, I'm schizophrenic. I've got some problems here,
Hmm.
um, which he kind of already knew, but that actually showed him, yeah, I'm hallucinating. But he almost kills the guy.
Oh yeah, he
I mean,
almost
it's
burned him in acid.
yeah, he's got yeah, and which would have been a horrible, horrible way to go. I
Which
mean,
I gotta say, like, I honestly don't know how easy is it to go to a store and
yeah,
buy a jug of sulfuric
it was
acid.
more than a jug, dude. There were two or three jugs there. He had two or three jugs on the
Like,
floor.
I don't know if you can really do that. It
I would
seems
hope
like
you can't. I would hope you can. And this is another scene. It's kind of hard to see on this shot here because it's dark. But he is sitting there with all duct tape to the chair, gagged, and a sock in his mouth. And that's another thing. I've never liked the idea. I don't like cloth in my mouth at all. And it's like if you're gonna gag me, I'd rather have a ball gag in my mouth or just tape over my mouth. But he stuffed a whatever it was, a sock or something in the guy's mouth and then duct taped him. And yeah, he had his whole equipment of all this stuff to bind. It was like he was like the BTK killer, bind,
I mean, he
torture,
pulled him
kill.
out of his bag and he's like, okay, got
Yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah,
got that.
yeah. I mean, he had and at one point, like Christian says to him, where'd you get all? And he's like, oh, I had these tools with me from a contractor's job. And it's like, yeah, you're not a contractor. So, and contractors don't use the shit you're using. But anyway, so yeah, this scene here, I was thinking to myself, man, I hope I don't have to see and probably only because they didn't have the budget, they didn't do the acid thing there. But geez, he came so close to pouring that acid over him. But
So
yeah,
this is obviously my pick.
yes, yep,
And I love this because of the low budget nature and what they were able to do with it. Much like my praise for The Endless,
Yeah.
the guy behind this is Perry Blackshear, who filmed it, wrote it, edited it, and directed it.
Yeah. Which I love it when especially when it's a director that actually does the whole ball of wax there,
He
especially the
called his
writing and the script.
friends, these
What's that?
three,
Yeah.
MacLeod Andrews as Wyatt, Evan Dumouchel as Christian, and Margaret Ying Drake as Mara, called them up. They're all living in LA.
Huh.
Called them up and said, I bought you all plane tickets to come out to see me in New York because
Huh.
we're going to do a movie. He
Wow.
didn't even have a script yet.
Damn. Damn.
And so he pulled them all together and he created something that it's flawed. It's imperfect. You can pick nits all day long. But my God, it instills such a level of tension
Yeah.
and anxiety.
Yeah.
Lisa watched it with me. She
Oh
said I
wow,
couldn't
really?
look away, even though it
Wow.
was uncomfortable at some points to watch. It
Yeah.
was hard to look away, and to get that level of whatever, of involvement, of hooks in you on that low a budget, with that simple a setup,
Yeah.
that alone was impressive to me. So
Yeah.
like we can talk about the movie, we can talk about mental illness, we can talk about this scene or that scene, and we probably will because we're doing a whole video on this.
Right.
But boiled down to its essence, just the level of anxiety this movie could instill
Yeah.
on such bare bones
Yeah. Well, and
impressed me.
you definitely could see it was a bare bones production. I mean, it exuded the low budget. And they did a lot with the low budget. So I will
I
give
could not find what the actual budget was, but this may be the lowest budget movie we've chosen since we've
it's
started doing
it
this.
definitely had to be low budget, man. I mean, their plane tickets out and whatever, if they got paid anything, I'm sure the crew probably got paid more than the actors did when it all broke down in the end. I can't, has this made money? Have you heard anything about what it's grossed or,
Nope. No, I have not been able to get, and believe me, I looked. I have not been
yeah,
able to get any financials for this.
yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I can't say it's not like I'm gonna sit here and say like, oh, I didn't like this movie. Um, there were aspects of the movie that I really liked. There were things that I felt like I guess my biggest problem with this it's and probably it's only a partial criticism, but I think my biggest thing is I felt like man, if they just had more money to do this, and if it had been pushed a little bit more, this could have been a much creepier and scarier. And then the other thing is, I think the plot could have been fleshed out a lot better so that you would have gotten even more anxiety and more tension and more suspense out of it. So I think that was probably my biggest problem.
Mm.
And that's not a really harsh criticism because there are aspects of this movie that I really enjoyed. Um, it's
I
just,
was telling Lisa, this movie is divisive among a number of crowds.
yeah,
Um, One of the reasons it's divisive, probably the biggest reason, is most platforms it's on categorize this into horror.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not really horror. If you're
No, I don't
expecting
believe
horror
so.
going into this movie, you're probably going to be disappointed.
It could have been horror. This scene
Could,
was horror. Um, the scene in the basement,
yes.
um, I still don't consider that to be horror. I
No,
consider
but it came close. Not
it
and
came
not that one.
close.
I'm talking about the scene before this one where um where Wyatt is alone, or I should say, who is it? Uh
Wyatt and Mara.
Wyatt is alone in the
Oh yeah.
basement and he hears a noise and he's looking around in the
Oh
dark.
yeah.
That came close. That would
Yeah, you're
that
right.
again, tension
Yeah, you're right.
ratcheted high.
Yeah, I think that was probably some of the scenes when he's alone in the basement, and I don't know what was going on with that one scene where he was taking the nail gun. It was like, dude, don't push that through your hand, you
Yeah.
know. And I mean, and then I don't know what was going on when he got up on the roof that one time with the nail gun. And that's another thing. I've seen some industrial nail guns, and you know they have a lot of punch, much more so. People buy those nail guns that in a Home Depot or whatever that are just like a home user's nail gun. They're nothing like what a commercial contractor's nail gun is. They're powerful, but I don't when he was standing up on the rooftop and he was going to fire that down at people. I don't think that even a really heavy duty nail gun firing that down off of a rooftop, it ain't going to hurt anybody. By the time it gets down there, it might penetrate, but it wouldn't penetrate much. He's not going to kill anybody. Um,
Well, also, I gotta say, this is one of the big errors of the movie. Have
yeah.
you ever used a nail gun?
Hmm.
It's not just a nail gun. You can't
Yeah.
just pull the gun out and use it. You need the compressor.
Oh yeah.
You need
Yeah.
a whole other part that they didn't even show.
Yeah. Yeah. And this scene here, that's where he's up on the rooftop. He's not connected at all.
Right.
So yeah, for especially for a more powerful commercial one, yeah, you need the air compressor, or you get at the very least a portable, which wouldn't be the more powerful nail gun. Um, you for a real commercial nail gun, you're going to need a heavy duty air compressor. So to power that thing. So yeah, I don't know what that was all about there, but you're right. It's like that alone was. But then again, it's a budget movie, so
Right.
he's got
It's a budget movie, and for what it's worth, it got the message across. I
yeah,
really like how they presented the paranoia.
yeah,
I really felt the sense of tension, the sense of fear. But in addition to that, they showed um, they showed a male friendship that you often don't see
no,
in film. It
yeah,
wasn't these weren't like two athletes or cops or buddy cops or He-Man. They
yeah,
were just dudes, as you point
yeah.
out, kind of nerdy dudes.
Yeah, there were nerdy dudes that it was actually like a boyhood friendship. I have seen a few other movies where there were guys that reconnected and had that you could tell they had a good, strong boyhood friendship. But these guys had a very
Did they
natural
play
kind of
Blob Wars?
what's that? Oh yeah, exactly.
Did Blobbies?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Some of it was actually when they were drinking, that was actually some of the more lighter, funnier moments because I was actually cracking up at some of those.
And
Um,
I got to tell you, the main thrust of the movie is this fear, this paranoia, this anxiety, this horror adjacent sense. But you you tend to forget a big part of that movie is just these two guys being friends.
yeah.
And I think they really did that well.
Well, the other thing is after he loses his job is when things like really start coming to a head where he starts realizing like, wow, he's Wyatt's off the deep end. And so at one point where he starts telling him, yeah, the like this war is going to start, and that's the way he's kind of explaining it to him that it was going to start, and he's like, I'm not sure like when they haven't. they haven't told me when, but it's gonna just like kick off and start soon, like tonight. And we got to get out of the city, saying all this like whack stuff. And Christian's just like, okay, like, well, let's go. And I felt like he was trying to mostly be his friend, but they go out like they're going to go out and get in. That was probably one of the weirder scenes. I've never asked another dude to shave my back.
Nor would I don't have a lot of body hair, so I
Yeah,
wouldn't ever need that.
right.
But yeah,
Well,
I honestly can't see asking anyone to shave
yeah,
me.
I have probably more hair than I should have on my back, but not. I mean, I'm not like a woolly mammoth, but I've got more hair than I should have. But but at the same time, um, there's no way that I would have said, "Hey, man, can you come in here and shave my back?"
But this is a scene that really demonstrates a closeness among two guys. It's not romantic.
No, no,
It's
there's nothing sexual or
but
anything.
yet it's still it's an intimate closeness.
Yeah, yeah, they're clearly friends. They're clearly boyhood friends. They're clearly they're close. They've had a connection since they were very young that shows that they they're buddies and actually Christian really goes out on a limb in many ways with like this scene here because he actually it's this scene is he's actually putting himself, it's almost like he's trying to heal him by putting him in
Right.
this position and like is our friendship strong enough that I can actually overcome his mental illness, and he almost doesn't do it. And that's kind of the ending of have you seen the Babadook?
I have not.
Okay, so I don't want to give it away because at some point I'd like to do it, but and you will be seeing it then. But I that's kind of hypocritical so saying I don't want to give it away when that's what we are. Spoiler alert. But but so it just suddenly hit me. But the Babadook, there's a whole thing about mental illness and which I shouldn't even be saying because if you haven't seen it, but there's also a whole thing about
Well, I mean, it's not like I haven't heard about it.
yeah, it's almost like the movie Psycho or something where you kind of know that somebody gets killed in the shower, and it's the movie's a lot more than just that shower scene. And
Right.
if you're just gonna put that movie down to that scene and saying, "Oh, it wasn't scary because I knew it was going to happen," and it's like, no, there's so much more to that movie. And if you're gonna go into seeing Psycho, which at some point we need to do, but you have to know that the movie's so much more than that. And Babadook, by the end of the movie, there's a really kind of cool wrap, and it's one of the things that made me really love the movie because I didn't love everything about Babadook, but when the movie wrapped up, there was a really just the way that they tied it all together. I was like, wow, this made the movie almost perfect when you really realize like what was really going on and what it was about. You're like, wow, that's pretty friggin' cool. And so that made me love the movie. And um that's the trouble I think with this is I drew some connections to that, and so it made it feel like it fell a little short because of that. And I shouldn't have let that hit me as much as
Yeah.
it did. But anyway,
We're all
like I
going to go
said,
into a movie carrying some baggage.
yeah, sure. But like I said, I still feel like I'm a little rough on it because I'm saying it's I like the movie, but there's things I didn't like about it.
Yeah, I
Most
mean, again, I fully admit this is a flawed movie. I did not pick this because I think this is in the top 10 films. I
yeah,
didn't pick it because I think it's great.
yeah,
I picked it because, wow, what they were able to do.
yeah,
what they had to work with
yeah.
was amazing to me.
And I fully agree with you. And I also feel like that's completely true. Um, if you understand anything about films and filmmaking, and you look at this movie, and especially if you've seen a lot of movies, you can tell that this movie was filmed on a very low budget. And I will give movies more credit if I see that they didn't have as much to work with and they still pull off something pretty damn good. I'm willing to give the movie even more credit. And oh God, yeah, that scene was that was one of the more bloodier scenes. Now that's the scene that is around the time of this.
Exactly.
He is he's in full hallucination mode. He's what's going on. He's having a lot of trouble with reality. And I think one of the things that bothered me the most, which in some ways is a good thing, but when he came back and his buddy said to him, Christian says to him, "Did you hurt her?" He never really gives an answer. And I was like, dude, she was such a cool character. I thought to myself, if you hurt her, I want you dead at the end of this movie.
But that's the thing. Like the movie ends, we don't know if
Yeah,
she's alive or dead.
no, 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 we don't. And and that's the thing. He was in real full hallucination. He did say he ran out of there, but he didn't say it was after whether or not he hurt her or not. So the only thing I was hoping was if he tried to do it, that she used full on judo.
Right,
And
right. Given
yeah,
their prior experience,
yeah,
you
because
would think that there's no way he could actually hurt her.
well, she was a pretty good badass there. I mean, she was showing Christian some of her moves at one point, and and then he did try some odd stuff there, and she put him down. She that's why he's got holding
And
that cloth over his nose.
his inability to take the hint
Yeah,
was just torture.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh my God, man, how much more do you need? Just kiss her.
yeah, yeah. It's I'll tell you, that was I think that was another thing that bothered me was Christian like not stepping up to the plate because she was so damn cool. And even when he decided he was going to go out, he all of a sudden was like, "Oh, what was it he was going out to?" She mentioned something that she wanted or that she would love to have, and he's like, "Oh, I'll go out and get it." And that's when he ran out and he left her alone so that Wyatt says, "Have you seen the roof? Have you seen the basement?" And
Yeah.
so and she kind of you can tell she's like, yeah, I don't want to like, and he goes, well, we could just sit here awkwardly or we could go. And so she was cool enough and fun loving enough, she goes, okay, well, let's go see it then. And then he gets down in the basement and he starts that, so were you calling me? And he's saying the weirdest shit, and she's
Hmm.
just like, I'm out of here. Now that
Yep.
was one of the more realistic scenes that I it almost looked ad-libbed in the sense that it played so naturally. Um,
And that's not the only scene. I feel there were a lot of aspects of this movie that really rang true.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, even some of their drunk play acting, I almost got the sense that they really were that they really were drinking because some of the stuff that they were doing, and it was funny. I was actually laughing. So it was like I said, I can bitch at some things with this movie, but I kind of don't want to because I do think that the movie was quite entertaining and enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I think one of the reasons I picked it is because I feel that it met one of your top criteria, and that's that it makes you feel something.
yeah, yep,
And I gotta say, I am not easily unnerved, and I felt anxiety
yeah, yeah.
watching this.
Well, it's funny because I mean I have friends that have and family, but definitely friends that have said to me that they didn't like watching certain movies or certain types of movies. Um, your cousin Michelle was actually talking about this recently, saying there was a lot of horror movies that she doesn't like to watch anymore. And my friend Erica has said the same thing to me. Other people that are friends have said this, that like if it something that kind of like, but I actually, it's one of the things that I look at film maybe differently than some people do, but um to me it's like I the people that seem like they're more bothered by something affecting them seem more like it's like they're getting too into the, like it's becoming more real than it should be. When I look at watch movies, and I love movies. I'm a true film fan. When I watch movies, it's the set. And I've put this analogy out before, but it's kind of, I equate it to like going to an amusement park and getting on a roller coaster ride. I don't want the ride to crash and hurt me, and I don't expect that the ride, even though some of them probably can be dangerous, depending on where you go for the ride. You don't expect to be hurt on the ride. You expect to have, even if it's something crazy like a loop de loop or whatever the hell it was, or a big drop, you expect that you're going to have this crazy rush, and it's going to scare you and it's going to give you that thrill, and you're going to get off the ride safely and go, wow, that was awesome. And what you're going to want to go back on it again. With a movie, if it's something that is scary, and I find it hard to actually like find movies that scare me or make me feel something strongly. Um, when I do feel that, it it's like, yes, it actually made me feel something. So whether and I hate like really sad movies. I've seen, it's like Schindler's List. I love Schindler's List. Beautiful film, heavy movie. At the end of Schindler's List, I was crying, and it really bothered me at the end. And I was, like when he's saying the stuff about if this ring, if I just sold this ring, my car, how many people I could have saved. And then at the very end, of course, they're showing all the generations that lived on because of the people he saved. um, I was bawling at the end of Schindler's List, but at the same time, um, I probably wouldn't want to watch it again because of how strongly it affected me. However, um, it's a beautiful thing, and it did make me feel something, and I will always kind of be grateful to the movie for making me feel that, because it was something I appreciated. um, by a juxtaposition, the movie Funny Games made me feel very uncomfortably bad. And I came away initially saying, wow, this movie's awful. I don't like it. Um, and I thought about it later and I thought, well, it actually did make me feel strongly, and it made me feel differently about it. And I own the movie. It's something that, how many times I've watched the movie, I would watch it again with somebody that had never seen it and wanted to watch it. But it's not I'm not pulling that out just randomly. It's too heavy and strong of a movie. But it's a good movie, and I'll give it that. So I don't watch movies um, because or I don't not watch movies because I feel like I'm worried that the movie's going to make me feel bad or too scared or too or whatever. It's like that's not what a movie is to me. I can separate the movie from reality. Um, you know, it's not like I can watch a movie about the Sharon Tate murders, say the Manson murders, and it might be a heavy film, but like it's not the same thing as the actual murders. I'm probably more affected by watching a true crime show than I
Yeah,
am.
it's funny. I will watch some of the bloodiest horror, some of those
Yeah,
violent, bloody horror. I don't want to see true crime.
Yes, yeah, true crime is actually to me, and I know um, tons of people, family members and friends who love true crime, and I'm thinking this is worse than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something that's totally fictitious. It's made up in a lab. It's not, and what you're watching is something that's like that bothers me way worse.
Oh, right. I mean,
It-
someone actually did that to
yeah,
someone else.
yeah, and I mean, again, like even some of those, and I'm not into like a lot of the torture porn movies. They just turn me off. But because to me, it's like, okay, come on, you made your point. It's
Yeah.
not doing, this is just ridiculous. And I don't like, especially when it comes to like um horror that has like it's like deliberately like hurting a girl, say, or something like that. It's like, come on, man, that's you don't need to like just show the level of that.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
not what
there are
makes.
movies that is all they are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like movies like Hostel, some of the certain movies that they've made. What is that? A Serbian film? Like there's a
Yeah, a
couple of those.
human guinea pig.
Yeah, oh yeah. So some of those ones, and even to tell you the truth, like I've actually liked some of the later Saw movies, but like the first Saw movie, I've kind of felt like we're getting off subject, but the first Saw movie to me it was like almost like pointless, ridiculous stuff. So I don't know. Like I said, I just don't like if it's badly done. That bothers me more than I like a good bad B movie because it entertains you by the pure badness of it. But a movie that's just like badly done and it's just hurting people, that's not a movie. That's to me, it's like you don't know how to make a movie and you made this thing and it's a piece of crap. So
And so to reel us back in to the
yes, please.
topic, that's
Please.
one of the things I love about this movie is
Yeah.
because there's absolutely no gore
No,
or
not really. You
no
really
real
don't.
gore.
Even the nail gun scene where he's got the nail gun over his hand, because I was like, oh man, don't put that thing through your. I didn't want to see and they
It's
didn't
all
do it.
tension. It's all the threat
Yeah,
of
and
violence
that's
and
that's
gore.
what's good. That's what's good in a movie. That's suspense.
And that's what propels this film. That's what I took away from this film
Hmm.
is just that stress, that tension, the anxiety from what could happen, what's real, what's
Yeah,
actually going to end up happening.
yeah,
But there's actually some really good things. Like as frustrating as it was to see Christian not pick up on Mara's attraction,
yeah,
that was still kind of it was romantic. There
yeah.
was some romance in this
Well,
film.
and let's face it, dudes sometimes can be. we're
Sometimes
we're
it's like,
we're the dullest sometimes. We almost need a chick to come on, hello, I like you. Um,
but
there's
I mean,
times,
also ultimately, you had that last scene at the end where Christian allows himself to be tied up.
yeah.
He's at his friend's mercy. He could die
Oh
within
my
minutes.
God, I kept thinking, don't put the acid on, don't.
And yet, in the end, literally, the power of friendship
Yeah,
overcame the whole thing. Like the problem was solved with the power of friendship.
yeah,
And you don't see that a whole lot, and you
no,
don't see it portrayed as real and heartfelt as what this movie portrayed.
yeah, yeah. It's and in the end, when he like kind of it breaks on him like, yeah, I'm hallucinating. But I mean, the chance that he took for one thing. But yeah, it was kind of cathartic just the way they pulled it off. And I also felt like, I mean, they could have made this more ambiguous where you like, oh, is it mental illness or is there really something
And you're
going
absolutely
on?
right. Yep, that was a weakness. They could have made it more ambiguous.
Yeah. However, it was kind of, in some ways, it was kind of nice. It was a little bit like I never would have let myself. I guess I'm not that good of a friend, but I wouldn't have let, I can't think of anybody, family member or friend that would have got me into that chair and let me be in that position of vulnerability. That would not have been me. I would not have been Christian in that chair, because if I thought to myself, this guy's off his nut, he's hallucinating, I'm not going to put myself in a position. And I had, at that point, he had no idea about the acid, but there were still a lot of tools in the and he was talking about like bring your axe, bring this, bring that. So it's like, man, what if he just started wailing on him with the axe, you know? So no, I couldn't have, I could, but it did speak to their friendship
Mhm.
and the level of friendship that they had. So no, it's Dom, it's I think you did have a good pick. I mean, I can't say it's perfect by any means, and where I would rank this with other films, I don't think it would be fair in a lot of ways. It's like, oh, is this, as good as Taxi Driver? Is this as good as, and even comparing it to something like Babadook, Babadook had a way bigger budget. I
Oh, way
mean,
bigger.
way bigger. So it's not fair to compare it to a lot of movies. I mean, I don't know how many movies you could compare this to, because
This is
it's,
very much its own beast.
yeah. So in that sense, um, I've got to say, for what they had to work with, and even to tell you the truth, I've seen some way bigger budget movies that I liked a lot less. Um, so for what they pulled together, um, I'll give them full credit. I mean,
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
full.
I'll say it. I'll call it two thumbs up. Obviously, this is my choice. I'm going to give it two thumbs up because
Yeah,
I just their love of the craft, their love of filmmaking,
yeah,
what they did. This was almost like a weekend project. This came
yeah.
out, and
Well,
I thought it was awesome. Thought it was
and I'll,
awesome.
I'll tell you what, for my rating, I was gonna tell you when I finished watching the movie, I was gonna say, okay, I'm gonna give this 1.5 thumbs. I'm
Hmm.
not. I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs, because I feel like, um, first of all, yes, I did like the movie, and yes, it is a pretty low budget movie,
It's
and
super low budget.
so it's flawed, but it's not flawed worse than a lot of films I've seen that I liked as well or better. So I have to say this movie, not perfect. It's flawed, but it's a good movie. It's a damn good movie. It's a good watch. And so for people out there that have not seen this movie, or my feeling on it is it's a watch, and it's a,
Just don't go in thinking it's a horror.
yeah.
Almost everyone I've heard that was really disappointed with this movie thought they were going to be watching a horror.
It's not even a thriller. It is a suspense.
It is a
Um,
suspense.
and there's some sci-fi in it too. It has aspects of sci-fi.
Hmm.
It's not a, it's, don't go in thinking it's going to be a full-blown sci-fi, because that's not it either. But it definitely got suspense. It's got aspects of horror, and it's definitely got aspects of sci-fi a little bit. Um, it's I'd put it into a suspense category. Um, and there's some comedy.
There is some comedy.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know. Like I said, Dom, I think you had a good pick there. So and thank you, because I had never seen the movie before. So and having said all that, everybody,
Indeed.
please, well, first of all, please leave that like and subscribe. We always have to get that out there. Um, the other thing is, do I have my pick?
Yes. What's your pick?
Um, I have been tossing around two different ones, but I think I've come down on the one that um, I um, kind of I kind of like went back and forth, but I've decided, and what I picked for next week is Used Cars,
Okay.
the Kurt Russell movie, and this is also a budget one, but it's not as budget as this. But it's it's before a lot of other Kurt Russell movies. Kurt Russell plays a sleazy used car salesman, and it's comedy, and it's a little bit on the silly side, but it's a fun movie. I haven't seen it in years, and
I haven't seen this in years.
yeah, I haven't either. I think the last time I saw it was with you. I'm pretty sure that's when it was, but I'm wondering. I'm seriously wondering: is it going to be? It looks like that lamp is illuminating my my face, but
Yeah, turn
uh,
that lamp off.
yeah, yeah. Um, but I'm wondering if it's going to be as good as I remember because I enjoyed it years ago, and it's silly and it's got some fun humor in it. It's definitely a comedy. I'm hoping it's going to live up to my memory, but it could disappoint. So, but that's what I'm picking is Used Cars. So
Okay.
uh, it ought to be a fun rewatch anyway. It's been a long time, so I do own that on Vudu. It's around on the for anybody. I'm sure it's around on. It's probably on Tubi or whatever. I'm sure it's in a number of different places, but
I doubt it will be hard to find.
yeah. So anybody that hasn't seen it and wants to check it out before we talk about it. Um, having said all that, Dom, is there anything else you want to add to this whole thing, or you want to
No,
wrap
no,
it
I
up?
had fun as always.
I definitely had fun. This was a good talk. So, um, and thanks for picking this one. It was a cool watch. So, everybody, we're gonna see you guys next week with Used Cars.
You know
So
it.
take care. So long.